You ordered what?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dean Callan Show. This is Cabin Fever number 83. And today I have just completed my third day of the WSET or WSET level 3 spirits. I have to say, I am equally terrified and excited. I had a brilliant day today. Tasted, like, look at this, right? So I know I'm missing a couple of these bottles, but this is the range of stuff that we've been tasting. And I put these up here because I wanted to kind of demonstrate just how much tasting we're actually doing. This is something I didn't really kind of prepare myself for, but it's really blown me away because Hannah has walked us through the last few tastings, right? And we're trying to taste spirits professionally as opposed to just being like, oh, I like this. You know, we're actually analyzing it, looking for quality cues, looking for flavor notes, trying to decipher base ingredient, production, flaws. You know, if there aren't any flaws, like, great. You know, what would we say about this as far as quality goes? And it really occurred to me the last couple of days, why weren't we taught to taste spirits when we first started in bars? It's important to taste them. I've always told bartenders, you know, when you get a bottle down, you look at it, bare face, Canadian whiskey, triple oak, hide nothing, fear, you know, bare face, Canadian, triple oak, and then you pour, right? So your brain is like, you're creating these kind of little memory cues. You've got little like stamps in your head of what things are. But I hadn't actually been taught ever to taste properly. And today was the first time I naturally, I'm not good at it yet. I have to do loads of study, loads of practice. But I actually started going, wait, we didn't say, you know, what color it was. We didn't say yet. And, you know, people are doing it in different orders to me. I've got my little order. But it's been really enlightening, to say the very least. Philip, yeah, man, you've already done the course, I take it. Did you pass? I was hoping I'd do well on this when I kind of thought about doing it, and then realized I probably should have done level 2 first, because it's been 24 years since I was in school. And when I first started bartending, I was able to move fast and put out volume. So I just thought I was the shit. Not the case. I didn't really like pursue that much learning. I did bartending courses and everything like that. But once I started rolling a couple of years in, I should have enrolled in more courses, like 4 more courses to learn properly. I didn't. And now I'm realizing that, like, you know, 20 years I could have known how to taste properly. The amount of stuff I've tasted. Now, this morning we started with European fruit spirits, right? Which basically means cognac is in there, and Armagnac. And it occurred to me that just before I started working with Monkey Shoulder, I think I'd already done the interview and everything, right? I was convinced that I was living in a time when cognac was at its like lowest level of, you know, awareness and attention from bartenders. I don't know why. There was like bartenders at Milk and Honey that love Cordon Bleu. But I mean, like, I'm going to bars and I'm not even seeing Hennessy XO, you know, like it's like a staple kind of stock XO. You kind of have Hennessy. It's like having Johnny Walker Black. And bartenders weren't doing much with cognac. And it could be that the price of cognac was, you know, a little bit too much for people to be able to make cocktails with it in London because of the, you know, the markup that would be on the cocktails. But yeah, I at the time was convinced I need to learn everything I can about cognac and start shouting from the rafters about cognac. So this came about largely because, right, it wasn't just me saying like I want to learn, I need to know everything about cognac. A friend of mine, Marco Noe, you might know Marco Noe from, he's the guy that basically got me doing the Dean Callan show. He was editing everything. Back in the day, I had a lot of fun doing the show with him when he was in the UK. He was only here for a short time because we'd bounce off each other. You know, he'd laugh when I was doing dumb shit. And he'd tell me, dude, bit half-assed, do it again. You know, he was my producer. He was the guy that got me kind of making the show properly. And it occurred to me this morning that 10 years ago now, like 10 years ago now, I went to Cognac with him and I brought cameras with me. And when I say cameras, I mean, I've always been into having cameras. I love cameras. And I brought a digital SLR camera and I brought like basically a Sony Handycam with a rocker on the top and a 120 gig hard drive in it. So all the time when we were touring around, we went to Chateau Bagnolet and we stayed in the house that Hennessy owned for 200 years, the Hennessy family, and got like a private dinner and given loads of booze and proper tours. We got hooked up by Dildo Dan. For anyone that knows who Dildo Dan is, Dildo Dan hooked us up big time. And I made a video of it. It was the first video I ever put on YouTube, I think. And I thought I'd play that for you guys. So if you're listening to this on headphones or you're in a quiet room and you don't want sound to blast out, the first 3 seconds of this are kind of loud, okay? So I've warned you. And also the editing skills on this, right? I knew I couldn't edit. I knew I was shit at editing. So I just kind of had this idea of, you know, when you change a channel on the television, back before there were flat screens and everything was digital, you would click the click, right? You'd click the clicker to channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. And in between channel 1 and channel 2, you'd get that. Well, I thought it'd be cool to do that instead of editing. So yeah, and I just picked random bits. I lost all the footage. I don't know where it is. But these were just literally random snippets taken. No real like thought or rhyme or reason to it. Apart from I specifically looked for the shot where we tasted 110-year-old cognac from the barrel. That I made sure I put in there. So look out for that bit, you know? Anyway. We're heading to Cognac after what, like a delay of a whole day by me.
Slight technicality of Dean not having his passport.
Not having a passport. Apparently, you need a passport
to travel internationally.
To travel international.
Hennessy, bitches. You know, there's a sign on the gate that says "Beware dog." Do you know anything about a dog? Ano ba? Why is it that you get those lines?
fridge, the congelator, very very low. It's quite nice because it keeps the flavor and quite interesting.
Cool.
Hasn't said a word, and this dude's like, and they're just sitting there staring at the shops of his hair, and he takes his helmet off, and he's like, you know, not the Stig, right? And he's like, oh, fuck.
They're good, man. They're good boys.
All right, so that was meant to be a teaser for a longer video that I was going to edit. 10 years later, no idea where the footage is, which is kind of hilarious, really, if you think about it. It was a really, really good trip. And on watching the video back after 10 years, the part where the like master blender, master distiller from Courvoisier, he was a lovely guy, right? But we're sitting like 3 meters away from him, and he's going through in intricate detail all of the differences in subtle nuances between the different marks, or whatever you would call them, the different types of expressions, and we just couldn't hear him. You could hear on the audio here, we just couldn't hear him. Like, and we were both like, do we say something? Like, he's just a soft-spoken guy. Like, do we move closer? Does it, you know, what did he? Was there meant to be a microphone? That was scary. Also, the part, if you've seen that cask of 1900 cognac. Our host, I think his name was Michel, or like Jean-Michel. It was a very French name, so I don't want to be like, it's been 10 years. We only met him that once. He was amazing, by the way. He poured like a proper measure, right? And he put the little dog thing back in the cask, right? So I get the sample. I give it to Marco. Marco has a little sip, and he hands it to me. And you know, this thing's glugging away, and or I thought it was, and I get the sample, and clearly I've got considerably more than Marco, and I just didn't think, and I was like, oh yeah, oh wow, this is amazing. And Marco, our host, looked at me like, okay, and Marco was like, dude, I accidentally drank his share as well. So if you ever go to a distillery and someone pours you a very fancy bit of spirit that they're probably not even supposed to be pouring for you, you know, bear in mind, like, don't, even if it's only a tiny bit. I've never done this again. If they give you a tiny bit, ask first, like, is this, you know, am I the last person? If you think you are last, always ask. Or at least try to leave a little bit to hand back. Have half of what's in there, right? Anyway, this morning, I didn't know we were going to be doing Baijiu, which was super interesting. Baijiu, like, I forgot how good it actually was, and I think my palate has developed a lot more since 10 years ago when I lived in China. But this morning, tasting the cognac, all I could think about was a Harvard. Like, I haven't had a Harvard in a while. At least I don't think I have. And you might have noticed from this show, I just make whatever I feel like it. And like, at the moment, I kind of feel like drinking Harvards. I made like 5 variations on a Manhattan in the last kind of bunch of shows. But I you know, fuck it. It's my show. It's the Dean Callan show, because it doesn't have to be good. Right? I'm happy to be a flawed individual with a slightly flawed show, you know. Let's just play. So I'm going to make 2 Harvards. Now, the reason for that, I always thought a Harvard was cognac. And this morning, the question was raised, is it cognac? Is cognac a different drink? And you know what? I didn't have an answer. because I haven't needed to look that up for a long time. Like I haven't needed to learn about spirits. But as I've learned the last couple of days, you can never know everything. And also, like, you just need to keep refreshing. So I posed the question, is the Harvard just a, 2-to-1? I would make it cognac Manhattan or brandy, let's say brandy Manhattan. Or is there a different name for it? Also, I'm going to compare what I think is a good, like Remy Martin Club is a good, level for cognac to be at for mixing in a cocktail. I don't know if I need to put an XO in there. And I'm going to compare it to Isabella Regina. I don't know how that's pronounced. But this is kind of sweet and has like Pedro Jimenez flavors to it. So it'll be a more desserty kind of a one, right? Now, I'm going to put Martini. Finally got a new bottle of Martini in the cabinet in both. And I'm just going to stick to Angostura bitters. So we'll see, right? Now, in the interest of them being the same, I was going to do them both in these guys, but I don't know where both of my mixing glasses are, which is a bit of a weird thing. So I'm going to do them separately. Right. And for my Manhattan recipe as a base, because, if you're teaching someone how to make a drink, you teach them how to make it, in my opinion, so that it hits the center of a kind of matrix, right? If this is strong and that is weak, and this is like overly bitter and that's overly sweet, let's say in this particular drink, because you're not really doing sour and sweet, you want to kind of hit it in the middle. And then if your guest says they like it a bit stronger, next time you make one for them, bring it up a little bit, adjust to that person's palate. But if you don't know and it's not already on the menu, so bearing in mind, if you've got a recipe in your spec sheet and you're a junior bartender, let's say, if the bar manager has already written up a spec sheet and on the till it's got Harvard, make sure you're making it to recipe with the right cognac or brandy base and the right proportions, because otherwise the stock will be out. So obviously this is the 2-to-1 going back to a kind of middle of the road recipe is based on not having made it before and not having a recipe already set out in your specs in your bar. If you're working at home, you got a home bar like I do, not actually a professional bartender, then do the same as I've done, right? Start there, see how you like it. And if you like more bitters, which I like a lot of bitters, add more bitters. If you like more vermouth, you want it softened out a little bit, play with the levels after you've made the first one. Now, I see McIceface. So, a couple of nights ago, I was in here on my lonesome, drinking way too much, and I came up with this idea to make a Dean Callan show microphone ice cube. I haven't carved it yet, but I'm going to get to that at some point. I just thought I'd share that. I thought it was fun. I want to one day get to a stage where I just kind of, get paid to hang out at important bar events or competitions or whatever with a microphone, interviewing people, some camera dude following me. Actually, not some camera dude, either Marek, a good friend of mine, or Marco, a good friend of mine, both the M's. One of those two boys following me with a camera because they know me, they're good guys. All right. So I wonder how these two are going to compare. Have you guys, has anyone out there actually had a Harvard ordered in their bar? Right? I've never had anyone actually order one, but there's a story that I was told from way back in the day. Like, if you've heard of Naren Young, if you haven't heard of him, I think his Instagram is Fork and Shaker. Definitely go check it out. He's cool. But Naren Young told a story. I'm pretty sure it was Naren Young. Of him working in a bar in Sydney, and of, well-respected, like you could say older, more senior bartender come in, and in 15 years ago, maybe more, there was an attitude of like, if someone's doing well for themselves as a bartender, people would go in and try to stump them by ordering drinks that they're probably not going to know. And Naren said he was stumped by that order. Someone had come in and said, "Can I get a Harvard, please?" And he'd never heard of it, so he had to ask, sorry, do you know what's in it? And they were like, "You don't know it? It's a classic." And eventually, he got round to finding out that it was just a cognac Manhattan. And I mean, if someone doesn't know what a Harvard is, you could just say to them without kind of grilling them, "It's a cognac Manhattan." And in those days, like literally 15 years ago, in a restaurant in Sydney, how could you expect people to know it off by heart, especially when it's not even on the menu? And it wasn't a place where classics were their kind of USP or unique selling point. It was odd. Anyway, it was a story that made me remember what a Harvard was. So Des is saying, "I've never drunk a Harvard." Mate, I haven't had one today, but I'm about to change that. I am about to rectify that situation. The word rectify was used a lot today. Yeah, if you do the course, amazing course, definitely do it. If you have the money, do it, right? If you have the time, do it. I don't have the time. I'm probably going to fail this thing. But you know what? We live to learn, right? We live to learn. If we're not learning, are we really living? That's the question. That is the question. Damn it! And now I've learned that I probably should have prepared citrus before deciding. Oh, here we go. I did. Before deciding what I was going to do. Look at this. Glassware is like overheating. I am going to give an orange twist to these as well as a cherry, right? I'm going all in. It's going to be like a Harvard salad, or whatever you want to call it. Right. Let's have a look at this. How is this going to taste? How is it going to taste? All right. So in the interest of not getting them mixed up, which I kept doing today, I'm going to do that so we know which one's which. Right. I'm going to go orange twist, discard, and then my super, oh, you know what? I might taste it first and then put the cherry, right? Okay, that's feckin' delicious. Between them, in the interest of being as good as I possibly can. So, in the recipe they have on the website is faithful, first known reference. The cocktail is George J. Kapler's 1895 Modern American Drinks. Have that up there. Probably should have referred to it, but I mean, I had half an hour to set the show up. Guys, if you're watching this, Diogo has all the words, all the text, right, with information and such things. I'll do another episode where I actually cover this properly. Right. Now. Ooh. Now, I have a bit of a sweet tooth, but I think I like this. It's richer. We have a winner. It's not to say that's not good. That's phenomenal. Like, this is a great cognac. And I think it's at a reasonable price. Otherwise, it wouldn't be here. I'm on a budget these days. Right, so let's see if the addition of a cherry plays havoc with it. Right, and bearing in mind I've had a little taste, so you can notice the cherry. The cherry's given it kind of a bit of an artificial cherry sweetness. There was a real, like, you know, epic, deep, raisiny note before. Yeah. You know what? I like eating the cherry when I get to the end of that. So I would probably. So I'm up to you. You want a cherry? Have a cherry, right? I've started to fall in love with these cherries. It's some brand of cherry from Italy, but like they're delicious. And Electra loves them. So you know I can sit and drink Harvards all evening, and then put cherries in them, and then she can eat the cherries, right? If she's not drinking Harvards, she can still have a cherry, right? She's having cherries in the Gurneys these days. She loves a cherry. Now, in the interest of moving the show along, right? First of all, I'm going to play this. How cool is it? I love it. I want it with a black background though. I wonder if he can. Asking him might be a bit rude, actually, but still. Mitch's Minute. Now, as I said before, this morning I fell back in love with cognac. I love cognac, brandy in general. I also realized I love baijiu. Like that was amazing. Like intense, deep flavors. A lot of the other guys on the class, guys and girls, I should say, on the class, absolutely fell in love with baijiu as well. They were super interested in it. I think the years of tasting more and more flavor-packed, deep, rich, intense spirits have led, I guess, everyone to having the kind of palate that can handle baijiu. Like 10 years ago, when I first tasted it, there was no handling that. I wasn't getting fruity. I was getting offensive. But now, having tasted it today, I think I might start learning more about it, and especially finding out how it's produced. Very interesting. I mean, I've worked in a distillery for a couple of weeks. I thought I knew how distillation worked. I thought I knew how production of spirits worked, but you know, there's elements of what the Asian spirits are doing that just kind of add a whole new depth of meaning, character, learning. If you don't know, now's the time to learn, right? So, where's Mitch? Mitch's Minute.
Um, I mean, it's not the type of spirit you just sort of stumble upon and be like, oh yeah, this is lovely the first time, is it? It's a much more acquired taste. There is a brand here called Ming River who put out a cocktail competition maybe once a year. I think they're just Southern California. Here in Los Angeles, obviously, it's a very, a lot of comfort zone drinking, a lot of white spirits. Tequila and mezcal really rule the roost. They were still drinking shaken Moscow mules when I got here 4 years ago, which I think sort of says it all for me. A lot of split-based cocktails, but no, not a lot of baijiu. I mean, my personal thoughts on it, it kind of tastes like fermented Vegemite or something with like a little bit of fruit funk to it. It's kind of weird.
All right, so having seen Dez's comment of like dash of absinthe and you've got a cognac, remember the main, let's have fun, right? Bam, 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 bam. Absinthe. Also, if you're interested, if you can hear the music, and I haven't been cut off yet, as far as I can tell from social media, this playlist is DJ Ali B's mix that he did for Monkey Shoulder. Now, when I was brand ambassador for Monkey Shoulder, it was my dream to get this guy to do a mix for Monkey Shoulder, so that like if you're having a house party or whatever, and you're having a bottle of Monkey and you're sharing it with your friends, you can put Monkey music on. And the legend that is Joe Petch has gotten together with a bunch of different DJs and has a bunch of mixes available. Honestly, this mix is epic. So if you go onto mixcloud.com and just search for Monkey Shoulder Mix and DJ Ali B, you'll find it. Ooh, I really like that. I think because I was adding the dash of absinthe like quite late into the drink, it's overpowered that. Phenomenal. I think that because this is a bit richer and a bit like more, I don't know how to say it, but it's like sherry, fruity, raisiny sweetness. It holds up better to the absinthe. That's delicious. That works better with the absinthe. I think this was better without the absinthe. And what would you call it? Because you can't call it a cognac, remember the main, right? But then again, I guess brandy and suffered at a time when absinthe took off, so you could call it remember the phylloxera. That'd be pretty cool. Anyway, Diogo, you're like a total weapon. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you don't have Facebook, fine, but there's comments all over the YouTube, over the Facebook that lead you to all the information that you'll need. Well, this has been super fun and exciting. I think while I'm here, like these are both absolutely, I don't know how to describe it. I think I like this better than a Manhattan. It's tough to say. Oh. Also, how many people have experience with this? I think this is delicious. How is it not more popular? It's amazing. Yeah, I'm going to start making more drinks with this, I think. I might try the same test with another cognac drink. So maybe a Cosmopolitan Delight, because I think that would taste great in a Cosmopolitan Delight. Or if not, maybe we just go Brandy Cruster or Sidecar or something like that. I might do a Brandy Cruster episode one day. Oh, okay. Abby, love you. This stuff is delicious. Right? So we need to like pour more of this. So maybe like next time can you explain it? How amazing it is next time I do a show, and we'll do some Brandy Crusters or like Sidecars or something with it, or Cosmopolitan Delights. Yeah, delicious, super delicious. How come people aren't making more drinks with this? This should be like way more popular. I don't understand it. Pedro Jimenez. It says it on the front, right? Aged in oak barrels of Pedro Jimenez. Yep, super delicious. Anyway, I drank about half a bottle, right? Abby Goodhall. Like, I like that you guys, there's a community here and everyone's chatting. I wish that I could make it so that the comments can come up one at a time on the screen somewhere. I wonder if you could do that. And then people watching it in YouTube could see the comments. Well, if you are watching it on YouTube, I apologize, but this is the closest I've got to getting to be out and about in a bartender community, which is why I've started to really fall in love with doing this show, because as you guys might have noticed as well, the same people are checking in, and the conversations going on, the chat that I'm seeing is really making me feel connected again to my industry, which is epic. I love it. Thank you all so much for doing that for me, because I kind of needed it. I'm getting emotional. Have I drank too many shots today? Quite possibly. I'm gonna taste one thing. I'm gonna taste something that I haven't officially tasted yet. No, I'll wait. Yeah. I'll wait. I was gonna taste something I hadn't tasted yet, but I'll wait until I've got the guy to explain it to me. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I'm going to sign out before I start embarrassing myself. It's been a pleasure. I kind of want to just have a chat. It's so funny. I wish I could just have a chat. Like I could just drag people. If I could drag a face and they could be in the chat room with me, it'd be amazing. But it's not that easy, unfortunately. Bloody technology. Anyway, again, guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for checking in every week. It makes me really happy. And this is the end of the show. I'm going to end it. I'm just going to put it down. Put it down.
You ordered what?